Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the Scraptastic February kit, and this is just a bunch of scrap. There was an Echo Park pattern paper that had airplanes on it, and I knew I had pictures of an air show that my husband and the kids went to, and I thought it was 2007. Anyway, I couldn't find the pictures, so I decided to just use a 4x6. This is actually print paper that goes with my PictureMate, my Epson PictureMate. And so I'm just going to use that until I could find the photo and print it. And so it took me a little bit of time. I was looking on the wrong hard drive, and so I finally found it, and you're going to see it halfway through that I have the picture. So again, I'm just using a bunch of scraps. I'm using leftovers. There was one frame left that said "Love this," and I'm going to use it up. I thought maybe that I would use that label, which I don't end up using. I thought I was going to use that stripe paper, but I just didn't like. I decided that I want to keep it red and whitish or cream, and then add some colors of black, or some splashes of black, I guess is what I want to say. So those stripes kind of threw it off, so I'm going to end up taking that away. I cut a couple of banners out of two of the pattern papers that I'm going to use, and even there's a pattern there with all the different little hexagons on it, and I'm going to pull that out because again, I want to keep it two colors, and I'm just going to use the polka dot and then the airplanes, and then I'm going to go, and it's not even on here yet, but it's the cream and white stripe. I'm going to cut some airplanes right out of the pattern paper, and I'm going to use them as little die cuts on my layout. At first I do 3 of them in a row, but I'm going to cut them apart. I find it looks better if I take the couple of minutes it's going to take me to just cut around it, and then it looks like a little die cut that, came in a package or something. And I love doing that. I love taking something that's on the pattern paper and just cutting it apart. I love doing that with cameras, with arrows, I did it with the little hearts, one of the heart papers. I cut out the hearts and use them separately. The speech bubbles, I cut the speech bubbles out and use them on the background and made my own background. So altogether, I cut out 6 planes, and what I did was in one cluster I put 1 plane, in the other cluster I put 2 planes, and in the third cluster I put 3 planes. So it's going to take me a few minutes to get that cut apart. And this is the 25th layout using this kit. It took me an hour and 10 minutes. And today's April 9th, and this is actually the 3rd voiceover that I'm doing on the same day. And the reason being is, and I'm just going to upload every second day, and probably by the time, no, not probably, by the time this is live on YouTube, I'll be back from my trip. We're leaving tomorrow the 10th, and we're coming back on the 14th, and this is scheduled to go up on the 15th. So I'll be back by the time this loads, but and that's one of the main reasons why I can't load every day, because I only had yesterday and today, and I had a ton of things to do. Plus, we have a new puppy. We got a golden doodle, which is his mom was a golden retriever, and his dad was one of those big poodles. And the reason I wanted one of those is because they're supposed not to shed, which, yay. So we'll see. He's been here for a week, and I know that our golden retriever, even when he was a puppy, he used to shed, not as much as a full grown, but I used to find tufts of little fur and nothing as of yet with the new puppies. So hopefully that means that they won't shed, or he won't shed. And this is where I switch out that pattern paper and use a stripe instead, because I decided that I wanted to just have red and white or cream. and I'm going to put, and I'm just showing you that I plan on taking that pen and outlining all the outlines, because I've said this a lot of times, when one of the things that I like to do, because I use a lot of cardstock, is either put a line all the way around, or I put pattern paper at the top and the bottom of the layout. And this time I just decided that I wanted to outline all the way around to sort of say, okay, this is where the layout begins and this is where the layout ends. I decide on using these October Afternoon Daily Flash. They're black and white letters. And the title is going to be, at first it was going to be The Amazing Air Show. And then one of the stickers in the sticker sheet says real. So I just put, it's a circle. And now what it ended up doing, I just realized that it doesn't even show on the photos that I took at the end. But next to that circle, I added, in the same font that I use for I put an L and a Y. So the Really Amazing Air Show. And it's a little different font, but it just kind of adds interest, so I don't mind. And I wish I could say that I'm going to take new pictures to, show you what it looks like with the extra letters. But where it is 9:30 here at night and we're leaving first thing in the morning, and I'm still doing laundry. All my stuff is on the bed ready to pack, but it's still not packed, and I still have to go and have a shower. So a ton of stuff to do before we leave in the morning. So I just don't have time to take another picture and upload it to iMovie and all that stuff. So you'll just have to believe me that I added the L and the Y, and it looks pretty cool. So at this point, I'm still fussing with the layers, and I started thinking about what I'm going to use for embellishments. And I have to say, there's not a lot of embellishments on this page. There's a couple of flags that I made myself. There's the planes that I cut out of the pattern paper. There's the frame that I cut in two. I'm going to add some washi tape. There's a couple of stickers from the sticker sheet, and a heart that came in a little package that had little hearts and stars and stuff, and I just did the one heart. While there's a heart on the frame, then there's a heart from the sticker sheet, and then the other heart that I'm going to put later. So this is the washi tape I'm going to use. It's the one with the camera with the stars in the middle, and I absolutely love that washi tape. So I know I want to use that, and there you go. I printed the photo and it just magically appeared. And the beautiful thing is that plane that's in the pattern paper looks like the plane in the photo. And I don't know if you can kind of see, but on top of that plane, there's a man standing on top of the plane. And so it was, my kids absolutely loved the show. So I didn't get to go because I was actually working. Okay, so this is the third time that I've recorded this little section. Every time I go back and check after 5 minutes, it only recorded like 26 seconds. So I restarted my computer. Hopefully this works. And it always happens when you have a ton of stuff to do, right? So I'm going to mat the photo on white cardstock and then on red. And this is the third or fourth time that I say this, so I don't remember what I've already said, what I haven't said. I believe I was talking that I didn't go because I had to work. And so my husband took the kids and they got an extra treat because of where I work. We also do air ambulance. And so they got to go at the hangar and see the big jets and the big airplanes and everything taking off also. And so they thought that was pretty cool. So I took my Staedtler fine liner pens and I outlined all the pattern paper. And the reason I wanted to mat the photo on the white and then the red is there was so much blue around the plane that I found that just the red cardstock, it didn't stand out enough. But adding the white and then the red, it really helped the photo stand out a whole lot more. And adding the marker all around the pattern paper just kind of helps all the pattern paper kind of coordinate together. Now I'm just putting a little bit of glue in behind each layer so that I'm able to tuck other stuff in behind. And at this point, I know I want to do something to the background. So I'm just kind of gluing all the layers of pattern paper together. And once that is done, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make some marks of everywhere, you know, where the pattern paper is going to sit. And then I'm going to take my wheel and I'm going to add some texture to the background, and I'm using my Hero Arts charcoal ink. And what I wanted to do with this layout, in that beginning, if you remember, I had other pattern papers that had lines or stripes, and then the other one had sort of hexagons or stop sign looking with all different colors. And what I decided to do was just keep it with the red and the white or cream, and then with a blast or a little shot of black. And I really liked how it turned out. It just makes the photo really pop on the page. And at this point, now I have all the layers down, so I'm going to start gluing all the embellishment clusters. And I cut out a few flags and I'm going to put them to the top right of the layout. And then I used that wheel with the triangles at the bottom right, and I'm going to make another cluster there. And that frame, I'm going to put it in a way that the word amazing is going to sit right inside of it. And then there was, from the sticker sheet, there was a heart that I'm going to use on this page. And it's sort of cross stitch heart. And then a circle that said real, and then so I'm going to use it as part of the title, but it's not grammatically correct, so I add ly to make it the really amazing air show, which is probably still not grammatically correct, but it sounded better. So, and the way I look at it, on my scrapbook pages, I do my titles the way that we interact with each other so that it'll be more real to them. And Janet suggested something, and I have to tell you, Janet, I thought of it because of my new little printer. I can do the QR codes, and I thought how neat, because I have 200 and I don't know, almost 40 videos right now. For them to find the video for that specific page is going to be a pain. But now I have to do the research. I don't want to print. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have to do the research on how I'm going to be able to put a QR code for each layout. And I'm sure it's not going to be an easy task either. For 200 and some pages, it's going to take some time. I did think of it, and I'm hoping to make it happen soon. And once I do, maybe I'll do a small video on how I figured out how to do it, so that if there's other people that are doing YouTube videos and they want to do that too, then they'll be able to also do it. But thanks for mentioning it again, because when I got my new LG Pocket photo printer, there is a QR code there, and that's what made me think of, man, that would be pretty awesome to do. But I have to look into it. I put some foam tape in behind one of those flags so that it kind of pops off the page, and now I'm going to glue down those planes. And the first one at the beginning, I kind of cut the front of it so it looks like it's flying off the page, and I'm going to have to pull them up and glue them down again because they were kind of crooked, and they still look kind of crooked, but oh well. Now I know I want to put that little plane, and I'm actually going to put it so it's facing in towards the photo, and I'm going to put some foam tape in behind that photo too. I cut a little strip of a matching pattern paper that I used for the layers, and I'm going to put it to the bottom of the layout. And these are some little die cuts that came in the kit, and I hadn't even used one of them yet. So I'm going to use the heart on this layout. And then there's a cross stitch heart that I'm going to put at the bottom right. And now I'm going to start and add the washi tape. I didn't know if I wanted one with that plain, but I decided against it. I'm going to put one right there and one at the bottom cluster, and then I'm going to put one right underneath the title. So that'll be my 3 washi tape. And I kind of got distracted by that bottom layer, so I forgot to put that 3rd thing of washi tape. I was wondering if I was going to be able to make it work so that the heart would hide the end of the washi tape, and it did, and I couldn't leave it. I had to do it right away. So I'm going to put the 3rd piece of washi tape right there. And now I'm kind of thinking what else I could add to this layout. I believe at this point I'm going to put some foam tape in behind that little airplane. I'm just cutting little pieces of foam tape, and that's what I love about that big huge roll of Scotch 3M, which by the way I got at Custom Crops, and I paid $33, but I think it's about $42 now. And that's what I like, is I can customize the size really easily. In order to get it off the roll, I have to cut it, so I cut it down to the size I need right away, and I don't have to fuss with little squares. And I've had it for over a year and I still have tons left. I'm thinking it'll probably last me probably close to, now the circle is getting smaller, so I'll probably go around the circles a little faster, but I'm thinking it'll probably last me another 6 to 8 months. So that means that it's going to last me almost 2 years. So now I'm going to put my page in my box so I don't dirty my mat. I'm going to sprinkle it with some Hot Diggity Mr. Huey ink and also Inky Black. So I'm going to keep it to the 2 colors. And now I'm going to put my stuff away. And now I remember, oh yeah, I wanted to outline the whole thing. And of course, it's way harder once I have that ink on there, because I have to be careful how and where I put my hand on the layout, because I don't want to mess with those spots. And I'm impatient. I couldn't wait for it to dry up. It worked out okay. I didn't make a mess. So now I'm going to show you close-ups of each little clusters. And if you want to see more close-ups, you can go to 2 Peas in a Bucket, a Cherry on Top, Instagram, Pinterest, Scraptastic blog, and the Facebook group, and also my Facebook group, and the link is in the description. So thanks for watching. Bye.